A very good evening. Welcome. A very good evening to you and welcome to World Now at 4. I am Peace Ogenegbawe. First, let's talk the headlines. On the headlines, Buhari rules out bail option for Kanu. Prince Charles expresses sadness over slavery in Commonwealth through to first round opponents. Now the news in detail. Nigeria's President Mohammed Kanu, who is currently on trial, was being given every opportunity under the law to justify all the uncomplimentary things said against Nigeria while he was in May 2023. According to a British Prime Minister Boris Johnson on the margins of the 26th Commonwealth Heads of State meeting in Kigali, Rwanda. He said, considering Kanu's jumping of bail earlier, the federal government of Nigeria may not consider granting him such privilege anymore. Ahead of the 2022 International Anti-Drug Day, the Imo State Command 22. Speaking drug abuse, the Imo State NDLEA Commandant Ruben Akpe drug-related offenses at the Federal High Court. Akpe stated that the drug situation in Imo was worrisome, as he says that women had joined the drug trade to make ends meet. He, however, said that cannabis farm in hectares were also destroyed in Imo, just as he added that 0.5278 kg of rohypnol and 2.5135 kg of diazepam among the younger segment of the people of the state's population. Supreme Court has struck out the suit by Nigeria's President Muhammadu Buhari and the Attorney General of the Federation, that is the AGF, Abubakar Malami, seeking to void the Fadadi Joe. Muhammad was unanimous in holding that Buhari, having participated in the making of the law by assenting to it, could not turn around to fault its provisions. The courts, which upheld the objections raised by National Assembly and the defendants against the suit, declined to determine it on the merits, but declared that the Supreme Court lacked the jurisdiction to hear it and that the suit was an abuse of court process. Justice Emmanuel Agim, in the lead judgment, held that it was an attack on the democratic principle of separation of powers for the president to seek to direct or request the legislature to make a particular law or alter any law. Moving away from that, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, that is ASU, has said the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, did not invite the union for a meeting. The ASU president, Emmanuel Osodeke, confirmed this to newsmen that the union was not informed about any meeting with the federal government of Nigeria. Osodeke asked the Labour Minister to leave negotiations with the union, ASU, which had embarked on a latest round of strikes since February 14, cited the government's non-implementation of agreements reached with the union. Ngige had earlier assured Nigerians that the protracted action will be resolved soon, saying the federal government of Nigeria is determined to see public universities reopened. Ngige had, after the Federal Executive Council, that is the FEC, meeting on Wednesday, said he will be meeting with the union to continue discussions about the lingering strike embarked on by ASUU. You're watching World Now at 4 on Hills TV. When the news return, news from other parts of Africa. To stay with us. Welcome back. Britain's Prince Charles has expressed deep sorrow over slavery in a speech to Commonwealth leaders in Rwanda on Friday and acknowledged that the roots of the organization lay in a painful period of history, alluding to the slave trade and colonialism.
Throughout her reign, the Queen has placed and continues to place the greatest importance on the common friendship, humanity, and values that all of us share in this room, not despite, but because of the diversity the Commonwealth represents. I treasure the friendships we have built over these past 70 years and look forward to their deepening in the years ahead. I take heart from the fact that working together and with urgent intent, there is a path to build a future for humanity that is sustainable, prosperous, and just. And now, coming to Rwanda for the first time, visiting the Genocide Memorial and speaking to survivors, I have been overwhelmed by the resilience, grace, and determination of the Rwandan people. As leaders, you consider how to define and strengthen our own commitment to common purpose. And I would only offer you the view that our Commonwealth family of some of the world's most vulnerable and some of the world's wealthiest nations has the ability, indeed the obligation, to be a force for global public good.
The Commonwealth, a club of 54 countries, most of which are former British colonies, encompasses about a third of humanity and presents itself as a network of equal partners with shared goals such as democracy, peace, and prosperity. In a speech, the royalty also acknowledged growing Republican sentiment in some of the 15 Commonwealth nations that currently have the Queen as head of state. They include the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, Jamaica, Belize, the Bahamas, and Papua New Guinea. South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has received the last of a series of damning reports from a 4-year investigation into state corruption during his predecessor's time, Jacob Zuma's presidency. The head of state said he would announce his decision on whether to follow the Commission's recommendation in 4 months to Parliament. Judge Raymond Zondo has already called for prosecution for more than 130 people, including former ministers. We apologize for the mix-up. Former President Jacob Zuma on parole after being after being sentenced to 15 months in prison for refusing to testify before the Commission of Inquiry set up in 2018, is accused of organizing the looting of state coffers for the benefit of a circle of politicians and powerful businessmen of Indian origin, the Gupta brothers. Ramaphosa has made the fight against corruption one of his main concerns. However, he too was called to testify before the Commission. He had estimated that more than 30 billion euros had been embezzled.
For once, even to discuss the evidence that I presented to the Commission, which was led or heard by the Chief Justice, and he has said that he has a chapter or so dealing with the evidence that I put forward to the Commission. I don't even know what that is. And for all I care, because of the high regard I have for the Chief Justice, he could be making he could have made a negative finding against me, which I will accept.
The report's findings come as the president is in turmoil over corruption allegations surrounding an embarrassing 2020 burglary property in which large sums of cash were found hidden in furniture. We move to other parts of the world after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. The United States Senate has approved a bipartisan package of modest gun safety measures as the country's Supreme Court broadly expanded guns rights.
The yeas are 65, the nays are 33. The motion to concur with an amendment is agreed to.
Country with the highest gun ownership per capita in the world and the highest number of mass shootings annually among wealthy nations. While speaking for the motion, Chris Murphy, a Democrat senator, gave reasons for the passage.
This bill also has the chance to prove to a weary American public that democracy is not so broken that it is unable to rise to the moment when the need for action, like right now, in the wake of Uvalde and Buffalo, is most acute. What are we doing? Why are we here? We're answering those questions today. Not fully, but with enough force that anxious moms and dads and kids all across this nation can wake up tomorrow and be a little bit more confident that the adults who run this country actually care about their safety.
Meanwhile, President Joe Biden of the United States of America has reacted to the passage of the bipartisan gun safety bill in the daily White House press briefing by Karen Jean-Pierre.
Well, let me just say that we are disappointed by the Supreme Court's ruling today. The Second Amendment, as you've heard the President say, is not obsolete and permits common sense gun regulation. Justice Department defended New York's concealed carry law, which had been in place since 1911 and imposed only a modest burden on most gun owners. The law applied only to handguns and public places and contained an exception for people who could establish an actual articulable need for self-defense.
You're watching World Now at 4. Welcome back. Nigerian government says it has so far saved about 10 trillion naira since the establishment at a weekly ministerial briefing organized by the presidential media team. Giving key updates on the performance of the Bureau in the execution of its core mandate, particularly in ensuring the full implementation of reform policies and programs for the government, he also said that introduction of the Integrated Personnel and Payroll Information System, which is the IPIS, has led to the reduction of federal civil service personnel to 7,200 and 720,000, I beg your pardon. And moving away from that story to another story, we bring you the fact that it's a life camp, Jabi, Gwarimpa, among others, owing to the increase in population growth. The project, which has been approved by the Federal Executive Council following a council presentation to this effect by FCT Minister Malam Mohammed Bello, has the completion period of 15 months. You're still watching World Now at 4 on Hills TV. Up next is Sports News. Do stay with us.
Good evening and welcome to Sports News. Three top-ranked teams in Africa, reigning African champions Senegal, North African giants Morocco and Tunisia moved up in their rankings. Nigeria Super Eagles dropped by a step to be ranked 31st in the June 2022 FIFA World Rankings released on Thursday by the World Football Governing Body. Record 10-0 win over Sao Tome and Principe. The coach, Jose Peseiro, tutored side still maintained their fourth spot in Africa. Starting the year as the 32nd rated team in the world in February 2022, the team improved to 30 in March, but in the latest ranking, the three-time African champions dropped to 31. Meanwhile, 3 months after taking the top spot in the FIFA World Ranking from Belgium, Brazil have widened the gap on the nearest pursuer. Argentina displaced France to be ranked third in the world. Other teams making progress among the top 10 are Spain, the Netherlands and Denmark, while Italy and Portugal head in the opposite direction. For their part, Mexico drops out of the top 10 completely. Africa Cup in Lagos, where she scooped the title as the youngest ever champion. 14-year-old Egyptian Hannah Goda will be making a debut at the 2022 Mediterranean Games, holding from June 25 to July 6, 2022 in Algeria. The Mediterranean Games is a multi-sport event held every 4 years among athletes from countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea in Africa, Asia and Europe. The Games, which is in its 19th edition, will see athletes from 26 Mediterranean countries taking part in the international event. Another debutant in the Egyptian team is the reigning African champions, Maria Alo-Dabi, while Dina Meshref will return with one mission to defend the women's single gold medal. Fresh from reclaiming the African Cup, Omar Assar will have another chance to reclaim the men's singles gold medal he won exactly 9 years ago at the end of 2013 edition in Turkey. And that's sports news on World Now at 4. Back to Peace for the rest of the news.
29 phone sellers in Zamfara State that were kidnapped by bandits while returning from a wedding ceremony in Sokoto have been released by bandits on Thursday night. They were expected to reunite with their families on Friday, even though virtually all the victims have suffered from injuries and illnesses. Leader of the phone sellers at the popular plaza in Gzo, Ibrahim Kado, told journalists that whoever saw them when they were released will sympathize with them because they were in a very pitiable condition. According to Kado, one of the victims had to be rushed to a hospital where he was given 2 pints of blood and 4 pints of water. And that's World Now at 4 on Hills TV. But before we go, here are the headlines again. We told you that Buhari has ruled out bail option for Kanu. We also told you that Prince Charles has expressed sadness over slavery in Commonwealth speech. Also on the international scene, Johnson suffered setback as Tories lost 2 seats in UK by-election. And on sports, Raducanu, Murray, Williams through to first-round opponents. Remember to follow us on Facebook at Hills TV, Instagram at Hills TV. Subscribe to our YouTube channel at Hills TV. I am Peace Organic Bowie. Thank you for watching.